One of the iconic passages that we talk about in regards to the Lord's Supper is, of course, 1 Corinthians 11. And the thing about 1 Corinthians 11 is he's fussing about them getting it wrong, doing things that were not constructive, not positive. In fact, it had gotten to the place where it had become a negative in their worship. And so he spends a good bit of time and some of the strongest language in the book of 1 Corinthians, which is kind of filled with some strong language, saying, you've got to fix this. And he goes back to the beginning. He says simply that this is what we were given by Jesus. Just as an aside, that simple idea, going back to the night that he was betrayed, this is what Jesus said do. If we were to take that mentality about any controversy or any struggle that we have with our faith and with our practice and whatever, and just simply go back to what did Jesus say? Solves a whole lot of problems. But what Jesus said was you do this with a specific purpose in mind, that is to remember. I think since that passage, or since that letter got to Corinth, I think brethren have struggled and have worked and have put a great effort into making sure that that's what goes on, that they remember. And one of the things that we use as a tool to remember are the songs we sing around the Lord's Supper. I've talked about this a number of times, but to me, of all the songs that we sing, and we have these different genres of music and different things that we sing about joy and happiness, and songs around when someone's being baptized, and there's songs around funerals. There's lots of different genres, but my favorite of all of those are the ones that are associated with the Lord's Supper. They are the most evocative. They reach out into the moment that we share together. We'll talk about that in a moment, in a very powerful way, and make it better. There's a couple of ideas that I think I'd like to kind of emphasize in that, and I'm then going to ask that we're going to sing one more song before we have the prayer for the bread. In just a minute, we're going to sing one of my favorite songs called How Deep the Father's Love. And the interesting thing is that that song covers a great deal of territory in this idea, in this genre of bringing my mind towards the things of Jesus and the things of the cross. One of those that is emphasized is actually in the title, How Great the Father's Love for Us. Us. That we do this collectively. We should never lose that idea, that I have come here to do this with you because we are brothers and sisters. That we have come together to honor, to remember, and to focus on the Son that gave his life for me so that I have hope, that you have hope. And we talk about it as the us. How great the Father's love for us. How vast beyond all measure, the song is going to say as we sing it. And one of the reasons I really like this idea of singing these songs as we participate in the Lord's Supper, as we prepare ourselves for it, is that our voices combine. Our voices amplify one another. There's a fascinating acoustic phenomenon that when voices are perfectly in tune, that instead of two voices, it sounds like four. Other frequencies are actually created at the bottom and the top. Not that we need to have some performance level singing. That's not the purpose. But what I do hear when I sing these songs are those that are participating in this important moment with me. I hear the voices of the kids up front. I hear my 93-year-old father-in-law singing tenor. I hear, well, I'm not going to talk about who's off key, but that's never mind. But no, I don't care. The voices blending together is a powerful thing. And in many ways, we're not only singing in terms of praise, but we're singing to each other because we're reminding each other how great the Father's love for us. How vast beyond all measure. So never forget that this is something that we are sharing together. And let the song carry us there. But then halfway through the song, something interesting happens. The words change. Because the words go from a collective sense to a singular sense, the I. And he talks about, as the author of, the composer of this song, talks about that he hears his own voice among the scoffers, those that ridiculed and abused Jesus as he was publicly being executed. That this is also a very personal moment that we share not only with each other, but we share with Jesus. We share with our King, that we remember him. We remember the choice that he made in the garden. We remember how difficult this was. And the song takes me there. Songs are evocative. They reach us not just in a context of this is the facts and this is what happened and this is, we go through these steps and all that. Music reaches us in a different way. It reaches our emotions. It reaches our heart. If you've ever stood in a cemetery and heard in the distance as the soldiers salute, hearing taps in our culture. Watch every hardened combat veteran in that group as tears stream down their face, because it means something to them and it touches them much more than the intellectual. It touches our emotions and it touches us collectively. We sing these songs and look at all the things it does. Now think back to that passage in 1 Corinthians 11 as Paul fusses at the church of Corinth and says, "You've got this all wrong. Fix this." And one of the tools that we have utilized over the centuries are these precious, precious songs. Night with Ebon Pinion, I'm the One. Things like these songs that I say these titles and they go, yeah, I know that song. And we carry it around with us everywhere we go. So we're going to sing the song in just a moment. And if you're not familiar with it, I hope you'll listen to the words. And if you are familiar with it, I hope your voices will ring out as he expresses this idea. How great the Father's love for us. How vast beyond all measure. that he would give his only son for you and me. So go ahead.